There's a little bit of snow that seems to be falling around all of you for a second. And he sort of looks at that notes and goes, um, what were you saying about adventure? You're going to continue on forward? What
Yeah.
all are you planning to do?
Well, Rowan's gonna kind of turn back to the party and point to them. I think our next adventure is to go after Cog, dragon we were initially chasing after when we ran into you.
We kind of got sidetracked quite often. Quite a
Took
lot.
us long enough to get to this point.
Tunuk, based on your placement, where are you sitting at? Would you be near the console where Virus would?
If I'm doing it by the slate, typically I'm probably going to want to be towards the bow.
All of you hear as from the center of the ship, right around the console area, there is a no! As you see sparks begin flying from the actual console of the ship. Right. Tunuk, looking down at your slate, you see as emergency flashes across it, and the ship goes into free fall.
Oh, I'm gonna kind of run over there to the console and start trying to diagnose it from what I know. If there's anything I can diagnose with my previous knowledge.
Virus is laying off to the side and on the ground. He looks like he's been electrocuted by something. It looks like one of the sections of the actual console itself has blown out. Maybe something wasn't holding too well. You see is like the ground. If you were to look over the edge, it looks like it's getting closer and closer as the ship is just dropping farther and farther and faster and faster.
I was going to go to the actual area that's blown out. And okay. I'm going to try to see if I can...
Inkais, you going to run over there too?
Yeah.
You run towards the console. Tunuk runs towards the console. You run over yourself. The rest of you are all watching as, the ship is just, plummeting. Matthias is, full-on Star Trek, when the ship is being attacked. People, throwing themselves across the actual ship itself, and he's trying to...
Are there rocks, though, falling from...
No rocks are falling from the sky.
From somewhere.
It's weird. Plummeting faster and faster, but you start pulling things out and you start messing with... You see where the console is busted open. Small little sections of wire have been sort of blown out where it's attached to one of the crystals. It looks like maybe it overpowered the wiring itself, and you need to make a better connection for it. You pull out your tools and you start trying to connect it together.
I'm gonna rush over to Virus as fast as I can in a falling ship. Cure wounds.
You see as the energy pours out of you and pulls into him, and he comes. He's like, "Oh shit, the console!" He rushes forward over to Tunuk, and he's like, "Tunuk, he's starting to help you with it." And you see as he pulls out pieces of bits of wire from the lower portion. It looks like it's pure platinum wire that's been pulled through there. Between the two of you, you're able to start trying to wire this back together, and you have to down power the console, so the crystals just shut down as this happens, and you start to reattach everything.
I'm going to cast haste on Varys.
I like it.
Thinking outside the taco.
Yes.
Davner, you see all of this happen from where you're standing. You're on the other side of the console from them as Tunuk and Virus are very quickly trying to repair and work. And you see on the other side of the console appears to be a hole. You walk over to it and you look down into it, and you're seeing is the ship is shaking, everything is flashing up. You begin to feel a change in pressure as the ship is getting into the lower portions of the atmosphere, where you're getting very close to the actual ground itself. You see that there's scorch marks as if somebody had hit it with another thing. From where you're standing, and because you rolled a natural 20, you see as 2 wires are dangling unconnected.
This is gonna suck. And he'll just reach in, and because they're already powering it back up from their last...
They're about they powered it down. They're reconnecting it, and they're about to power it back on. Are you going to try and connect them together?
Yeah, he's gonna quickly just run in there real quick and just slam them together and see if he can do it without getting zapped.
You can do this, Daphne. I believe in you.
Strongest fling I ever knew.
I want you to beat a 10. Because it's the ship is shaking, you're reaching in, you've got naturally high dexterity, and you grab that, and
That's 20?
Slam together. What do you get?
I rolled a 10 plus 1.
11. Okay. You reach in there, and you're struggling. You're a tiny guy, and you're not exactly trained to be super strong. But you're
This
like
little
struggling as the ship, and you feel as the power of the console comes back on. Tunuk, you see as Virus like reaches up and slams his hand down on the console and presses the button to turn it on. You see as the powering up signal comes on the actual slate itself, and you see error, 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 as Virus is like, oh fuck. And then you hear on the other side of the actual console, you see a Davner fly away from the console itself and slam into one of the edges of the actual ship itself.
I
He's
picture
like
like
teetering
R2-D2.
on the edge, over
Yeah.
the edge of itself, as the ship just powers back on, and you all feel. I want all of you to make a dexterity check. Davner, make a dexterity check with disadvantage.
Oh, no.
Oh my boy.
Oh my god, I'm cursed.
I
Is
am.
a
I nat 20, so that's a
17.
25.
Okay.
I got a 15. I got a
Okay.
15.
I rolled
Alright.
2 ones back to back.
Okay. Well.
all I gotta say is I've definitely been in this exact situation within my time of working with electricity, and this shit sucks.
Yeah, when you get hit with some like 400 plus, yeah.
You all like immediately feel as your momentum is arrested. Davner, you fortunately don't fly off the edge of the ship and continue falling to the ground. You manage to like hold yourself there as you've been shocked and electrocuted.
He's just sitting there cross-armed.
You're just standing. You're like watching as everybody is like, "What the hell are these people doing?" Everybody else, you all sit there and watch as the ship like starts to bow it, and you see as Amara flies off the edge of the ship.
Oh,
Does
Power is
Rowan's-
arrested,
Yeah.
and she just goes. Whew, and
Does Rowan
starts
see it?
Flinging off. You do see it. I'll give you. I will give you.
Wait, I have slow fall. How close am I to where she fell off?
Yeah. You are close enough that you would see as Amara just like flings off the edge of the ship itself. What do you want to do, Jack? You have a natural 20, Jack.
I'm gonna jump off and catch her and cast slow fall.
Okay. Jack, Ink Eyes, you see as Amara goes flying off of it. Rowan is like reaching out to grab Amara as she's like falling off, and Ink Eyes clears the edge of the ship, wraps his arms around Amara, and you see his power just suffices into him, and he just begins to slowly fall to the ground, holding Amara.
You are
So-
so cool.
Rowan's gonna kind of like rush to the edge and look down. And just yell.
Look up and give him a
Rowan-
thumbs up while they're like
Yeah,
Nice
floating down.
catch!
Virus is sitting there off to the edge, and he's like, "Oh, that was close." Matthias is like laying on his back on the ground itself. What the hell was that? Looks a little sort of queasy.
Everybody okay?
Davner with
He's
his
just
hair
like looking
standing
down.
up straight is just gonna be like, a little bit of smoke comes off his thumb.
He starts leaning down and looking inside. He reaches in, he pulls out a small metallic sphere. I have no idea what this is. It has a faint reddish glow to it. It's covered in runes. You all look up and you see as Amara and Ink Eyes are still just sort of slowly falling to the ground.
We literally like elevated past them as they were falling. I mean, if we were doing that, I probably would have kind of edged myself over a little bit and slowed up to try to catch him.
Yeah, you could have done that easily.
As soon as he's under us, I'll just let us fall again.
Okay.
Rowan was gonna go up to Ink and just kind of put his hand on his back and put his hand out and to shake him like, nice
Oh.
catch.
Yeah.
And you can see him visibly stressed that Amara just flew off
Yeet.
the edge of the ship and he couldn't do anything about it. And he's just gonna pull her into a hug and just pull her in really tight. And Amara will probably feel like a little bit of relief and stress just kind of just ease off of him.
Davner, as soon as Davner sees him getting less stressed, he's gonna walk up to Rowan and try to like zap him with whatever remaining static is on his body.
Oh no!
You walk up behind Rowan, and like almost a static electricity sort of like walked across the carpet effect. You go right up to his like bottom portion. Rowan, you feel it's like a little sharp pop of electricity jumps right off like your ass.
The hell?
Squeezing too hard. Yo, what happened? Oh.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What was that?
You see, like, you
Magic.
turn around and there's Davner, and he's got hair everywhere. And everything's just sort of like burnt, and even his eyebrows are sticking out.
Inkas
like
is
the new
gonna
look.
like put a hand over and try and flatten out some of the hair on his head.
You do, and it's like it's very stiff, but you like start batting it down.
Is this how sorcerers become magic?
That is it. That is how Akron got his magic. Okay, let's see. Just in case Kylethia or someone comes back, let's copy down the runes on the chalkboard, and maybe one of them would know what it is.
Well, dinner is probably not for another couple of hours. What do you want to do? I should probably go talk to Armani.
Rowan, you can't talk to Armani. You can talk to me. You can't talk to
Okay.
Armani.
Do you want to talk about hair, or do we want to?
Just gonna look at
You
Davner.
okay?
I'm probably gonna take this private. You can work on your. Oh,
Amara,
I can do this. I can do.
well, it's my fault, so.
No, it's my fault.
Guys, like, is leaving his room to like get some water or something.
And you step down, and you hear as Amara and Davner are having a small exchange as you're coming down the stairs, and you're stopped on the second level.
Sit down. Maybe sit. Everybody. Okay. We sit. Please.
Okay, everyone's gonna sit, and he's gonna just look around at all three.
Okay. So we killed Armani. A lot happened. And it made sense to us at the time. This decision was made quickly, and I understand when maybe someone else, like anyone else besides.
He threatened the family, and it just kind of
spiraled.
They tried to stop me, and I just went through with it.
No.
Amara's just trying to make
it. We had all decided on it.
Rowan leans forward and he puts his face in his hands.
Bitch. Called me a whore a handful of times. And we didn't mind the name calling. Well, Ink, I think you did. Bless him. He actually clocked the guy after one of the times he called me either a whore or a bitch. I wasn't really paying attention.
He was convinced that he was gonna get out and that we were all gonna die.
Whether or not he was capable of doing that, we're never gonna have the opportunity to know that now.
Amara had read his mind and put it in ours, and for the most part he was innocent. We killed an innocent man that day. He did his fair share of bad stuff, but not what we thought he did. Nothing that warranted us murdering him.
He's just there.
He knew about Orcus and he didn't do anything, which...
repeating his threats to kill us and those we love. And, for me, and something we all talked about was that we kept flashing back to when we were under siege. And whether or not he was capable, or if he had anyone to come back with, isn't really a loose end we were willing to have come back on us again.
We all came out barely alive last time something like that happened.
Rowan is just gonna bounce his eyes from Davner, Amara, Ink, heavily on Amara, back to Amara, and just kind of, as they talk.
He was trying to throw the city into chaos still. That's what all the houses are trying to do. They don't like Matthias. They like a power vacuum.
He's gonna walk up to Amara, grab her forearm gently, hearing the shakiness in her voice and how flustered she is. He's just gonna pull her into a hug. And then he's going to say, "Don't let this define you." And he's gonna pull away, he's gonna have both of his hands on her shoulder, and he's going to look at her in the eye. He threatened the family.
Yes.
I personally think he was harmless. I don't think what you guys did was necessarily right. Who am I to make that judgment call? What if he did go and bring people to kill us? My mistake of letting them go on the beach that day almost killed me. It's not an easy call to make to take a life.
It's easier when they've already shown hostile intent to you first.
Yeah.
I've never murdered someone in cold blood like that before. Ink's gonna, like, pinch his nose and just say offhandedly, I hate this city.
It reminds me a little bit too much of home.
I was actually thinking that in that moment it reminded me of the underdog.
At some point in time, something we're not proud of. It's in our line of work. We'll get through this, but let them stew next time. And he's just gonna put his arm around her. You did what you felt was right.
I did intend for you to get the opportunity to talk. Like, every intention until he kept opening his mouth.
Glad it ain't got 1 and 2 in. Especially when he called you names. Put his hand over Mara's drink really quick before she starts drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's just gonna just tap her nose. I heard that
You heard what?
on the ship. And he's just gonna say, I love you too, to her.
Oh.
Didn't think I heard that.
No, you kept rambling on.
And then Ron's just gonna flick his imaginary elf ears. That these ears can hear everything, you know.